Hello everyone, welcome to our technical drawing tutorial, and if you have any questions or comments you can send them to autocadalive@gmail.com. In this tutorial we will be constructing triangles, more specifically triangle ABC given the perimeter and two base angles. In our example we are asked to construct triangle ABC. The perimeter is 120 millimeters and the base angles of the required triangle ABC is 60 degrees and 45 degrees. We're going to begin our construction with a construction line onto which we will obtain the base of a much needed triangle which will be used to construct our required triangle. So here's my construction line labeled XY. We proceed with identifying the location for our line segment, which will be the base of our much needed triangle, which will be labeled later, and the base of that triangle must be equal to the perimeter of our required triangle labeled ABC. And that's our radius. And our 2 points have been demarcated for our line segment that we will label M and N. The triangle that we are going to construct, we will label it LMN. And so we are going to match up the two angles for the required triangle with the triangle that we are going to use in our construction. So let us allow LMN, the angle at point M, be equal to ABC, which is the angle at point B, and that is 60 degrees. We are also going to allow the angle at point N, and we'll label that LNM, be equal to ACB, and that angle is 45 degrees. So let's proceed with the construction of those two angles. At point M, a 60 degree angle. I do not want the construction arc that I used to identify point M on my line XY to be part of the construction or to intersect with any working, and so I'm going to just erase it just a little like I did, and then we're going to construct our 60 degree angle. Point 1, point 2, line drawn through point 2 from point M, and we're going to label that line Q. We cannot label it as L because it is not the apex of our required triangle, and we then proceed with the construction of our 45 degree angle at point N. A detailed explanation of that method which I'm using now is in the related 45 degree tutorial video. Just realized that the number 4 is going to be in the way of my next bit of working, and so I had to remove it quickly. First, let me double check my radius to see if it is still the same. And it is. And that gives us 0.5. We draw a line through 0.5 from point N, and we can label that line P. Let me just write number 4 here, because I don't want it to intersect with the bisection of, or the next step in the procedure or the process. Okay, so we have now line PN intersecting line QM, and the point of intersection is going to be labeled L. So here we have the first triangle that we're going to use in the process for obtaining our second or required triangle ABC. At this point, we are going to bisect the angles at the base of our first triangle, and we could go ahead by either changing or keeping the same radius. I'll just change the radius just a bit. And remember, if you're changing the radius when you're bisecting the angle, you must keep that same radius at both points of intersection or both centers. And the bisection of a 60-degree angle gives us 30 degrees. And so we proceed with our construction line, extended long enough, and labeled R. Point 5 is up here, and now point 6 would be this point here where the line PN intersects our major arc, giving us point 1. So that point of intersection is labeled 6, and we are going to use point 6 and point 1 to bisect our 45-degree angle. I'd like to increase my radius just a little to keep us clear from all other construction working. And that point of intersection is going to be labeled 7. We proceed with, as much as possible, avoid your numbers touching your working. In my case it did, but not so bad. Not so bad is still not good. So avoid allowing your numbers to touch your working, because it could affect your points of intersections. My point number 3 should have been removed, but that's okay. For the purpose of this video, I will remove it. Let's teach the right thing. I'm going to label point 3 up here, because point 3 refers to this point of intersection. Draw my construction line a little better. So now we have S point, our line NS intersects our line RM or MR at our new point, which will now be the apex of our triangle, and so that is point A. We proceed by drawing parallel lines, and so we are going to draw a line parallel to line QM at point A. Alright, remember we are drawing them and we're not constructing them. This is why we're going to be using our set squares to achieve that objective. So we're going to slide our set square down to point A, and we're going to draw our line from point A to intersect with our line segment MN. We do the same at point A, parallel, using rather our reference line PN. Again, we're going to slide our set square down, align it first properly with our reference line PN. And then we slide it down to point A. And we draw a line from point A to intersect with our line segment MN. So now we have line let's label them. This will be S, T, and U. Our line AU intersects our line segment MN at our angle, which is supposed to be 60 degrees, so that will be point B. Point B is 60 degrees. Remember, LMN is equal to ABC, and so that is point B right there, 60 degrees. And we look at now our next intersection, AT intersecting MN at point C. With that, we come to the end of our drawing or construction work, and so after being satisfied with the level of accuracy in our work, we could then proceed to darkening our lines or line segments. So we darken line segment AB, we darken line segment BC, which is the base of our required triangle, and we darken our line segment AC. And with that, we come to the end of our technical drawing construction, the construction of a triangle given the base and the perimeter, triangle ABC given the perimeter and the two base angles. Thank you very much for viewing.